What's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast, guys, with Rob and Nando. It seems like we're a bit controversial here in our less than 1 year on the podcast, guys. We're saying some things people don't like, but we are saying some things that people do like. So if you do like what we have to say, support the channel by subscribing to the channel. Help us on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're trying to push ourselves out there because people need to hear this stuff, and it's tough to say sometimes. We get that, but people need to understand where we're coming from when we're saying what we're saying. So let's get into it. We are going to get into a reaction video. And can you briefly mention what this reaction video is going to be about?
Yeah, so this is a pretty short TikTok clip of a woman talking about what she describes as her purpose. So let's play the clip.
Let's go for it.
So I'm child-free by choice, and everyone always says, like, what's your purpose? If you don't have kids, what's your purpose? My purpose is getting my nails done, going shopping, treating myself. Look at this new bag I just got from Goyard. Stunning. This new sweatsuit I got from Aloe. And being sober, traveling, I don't know, taking naps. Have you ever taken a nap? It's like the funnest thing ever. It's so nice. I enjoy naps a lot. So don't say I don't have purpose just because I don't have kids. How dare you?
Jeez. You know, before we even get into the clip, I don't know if that's supposed to be like a satire. I don't know if she's being sarcastic or I didn't check out her page. Maybe she has other videos like this, but if she's being like for real, it's very concerning.
Absolutely. It seemed like towards the end she was being a tad bit sarcastic, but throughout it seems like she was keeping it real, which we can say that she wants to be childless. She feels like she's free. She's able to do what she wants. She's able to travel. She says she wants to stay sober. She wants to buy herself purses and was that a sweater that she was wearing? A sweatshirt?
Yeah.
I mean, she wants to do all these things. She loves to take naps. And it seems like that's her purpose based on what she's saying. What are your thoughts?
You know, the first thing that comes to mind is she starts the video by saying, a lot of people have been asking me, what's your purpose? What's your purpose? So that basically tells you that people are noticing that. I mean, she's not 20 years old. You could tell by the video she's probably, I'm guessing, like somewhere in her mid to late 30s, let's call it, right? So she proceeded to say that her purpose is getting her nails done and shopping, taking naps. None of those things are a purpose, okay? What she basically said in that video is the equivalent of a man saying, guys, my purpose isn't to work and provide for a family. My purpose is to play Xbox and just, you know, chill in my room and eat chips and hang out with my friends. If we were to say that, nobody would support that. People would look at us like we're absolutely like batshit crazy. So, yeah, what do you think?
Well, I was going to ask you, based on her analysis of her childless life, if she goes childless in her life, will she have fulfilled the purpose in her life?
You know, I see it like this. Having a child is the one thing, the one gift, if you will, that women have that men can't do that. We can't have a kid if we wanted to, or you could maybe adopt a kid, but that is the one thing that you were given as a woman that only you can do that. Only you can recreate, you know, and give birth to a child. So although I respect somebody's decision to have or not have kids, for her to say that that's not her purpose and her purpose is to go shopping and, you know, get her nails and so on and so forth, I don't think this woman has a purpose. Based on what she described, none of those things are purposes in life. Those are all just addictions and, you know, feeding your own self-greed and, you know, only caring about yourself. It's just a selfish outlook at life. And, you know, the sad part of it is that you're going to start to see more and more. When we talk about modern women, here you go. This is what we're talking about.
Now, do you think she's masking her sadness with being narcissistic, selfish, saying that she's going to be fine being childless? She's going to buy herself bags and travel and be sober and get her nails done and all these things, take naps. Do you think she's sad deep down?
if she's not sad, she will be. And I think all that stuff she described, those are all symptoms of somebody that's either depressed or well on their way of being depressed. You know, the truth is, like, when you have a shopping addiction and you just buy like high-end stuff, like those are all just like ways to temporarily fill a void. You're just temporarily trying to make yourself happy. Like, oh, maybe if I buy more crap, you know, I'll be happier. But, you know, there's going to come a time in her life where it will be too late to have a kid. And I can't imagine her looking back and saying, well, you know, look at all the cool bags I had and how many times I got my nails done and all the naps I took. So if she doesn't see it yet, the reality will hit her one day.
We previewed the video, went through the comments. There were women on there that didn't have children that were supporting her, but also women that were mothers and they were supporting her. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's the concerning part. You know, the fact that women are starting to agree with this type of a mindset, and we've mentioned this a few times on our podcast. For the first time in history, you're starting to see more and more women saying, you know what, we're not going to have kids. It's getting to the point where, forget the marriage part of it, there's more and more women nowadays that are just saying, maybe I just won't have kids, I'll just travel. So I don't know what the underlying root cause, like what caused this like mindset shift in women. But I think, you know, social media definitely plays a large role in it because, like we've said before, women see, you know, these like high-end lifestyles and this carefree lifestyle. And I could see how once you start that type of a lifestyle, it's probably hard to let it go because, you know, sure, just travel and buy fancy things. And one thing she didn't mention in the video, which I was actually surprised out of that fantastic list she gave us, she didn't really mention anything about relationships in general or like who's buying this stuff. So I don't know if it's really her paying for it. I'm going to assume it isn't. Probably she has some simps or sugar daddies, whatever, but
could be nowadays. Yeah. That's popular. Is it odd to see mothers in those comments saying that she supports what she's doing, being childless? Do you think that all they've been through with children, raising children, they have a difficult time living their life, and they see this woman living her life childless, and they're probably a little bit jealous of her?
It's very odd to me how any women would support and promote women not having children. I think it's an absolutely crazy idea. If that's the direction society's heading down, if this is like, you know, now project this, you know, 20, 30, 40 years. If more women hop on this train and this becomes more of a thing, it's not going to really end good for this is the beginning of the end of civilization in the West if this continues. And I know this isn't like most women that think this way. You know, I'm being, you know, I'm exaggerating the whole thing, but honestly, if more women start to take on this type of a mindset, it's going to be an issue.
She gave some weird reasons about why she'd want to be childless. Are there any real reasons that there could be what she's saying, that she wants to be childless? Is there any real reason versus what she has said?
You know something? The reality is having a kid, being a mother, being a wife is extremely difficult, stressful, hard work. And I think she's just selfish and would rather just live a carefree, you know, free lifestyle. I think that's what it comes down to. She's a woman. She knows what being a mother is going to entail. Even if she doesn't get married or end up with some guy, just the role of being a mother is a lot of work. You're responsible for another human being 24/7 for 18 years, 20 years. I think she's just taking a selfish approach at life. She doesn't have a purpose, and she's saying her purpose is traveling and just, you know, taking care of herself. That's not a purpose. That's just wanting to live a carefree lifestyle with no purpose. It's the opposite.
It's just her wanting to have fun.
That's it.
Good time, treat herself, take care of herself.
You know, if she was 20 years old and she said that, it would make sense because at that age, yeah, sure, be carefree, like, you know, go through your crazy young phase like most people do, and then move on with your life. But she didn't seem like she was in her 20s. She seemed like she was in her mid to late 30s.
Seems like she was much older, yeah. Not in her 20s.
I don't think she'll change her mind if she hasn't by now.
At the very best, she's her early 30s, maybe 32, 33.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe she's thinking, well, there's a myth behind that biological clock. Maybe she can have a kid a little later on, which is not true. You know, the later you wait to have a child as a woman, the more of a health risk it can be. That's one thing. Another thing is maybe finances, the money aspect. It does cost a lot to bear a child, raise a child. There's a lot that goes into that. Time, effort, energy is another thing as well. And one that may hurt a lot of women may comment below and say, no, it's not that. But maybe they can't find a guy that's a fit for them.
That would be my first guess. Because
In their eyes, it might not be a fit for them, but maybe there's no guy that wants to give them a child.
that's most likely the real answer, and she's probably this is just a form of her coping. Because, again, I can't imagine. I'm trying to put myself in a woman's shoes. I can't imagine getting to that age and not. First of all, it's a woman's natural instinct to want to have kids. It's not really even a matter of like, oh, I want or don't want. It's natural. It's human like biology for a woman to eventually your hormones change and you get what they call the baby rabies. Like you have to you want to have a kid, and some women get it at a younger age, but apparently not her. She has better stuff to do.
I mean, how times have changed. Women now want cats and dogs. They want their freedom to do all these things and don't want children. It's fine. We're not saying don't have those things. We're not saying be a slave to anybody in anything. A job, at home, none of that. But to just want a cat, to just want a dog, to just want to travel, do you fully feel fulfilled as a woman? It's tough to say. It's tough to see that being true because they're doing all these things to fill that void. They're getting the cats. They're getting the dogs. Buy your stocks, by the way. Cat food, dog food, get your stocks in. And they're doing the shopping, and for her, it's taking naps, I guess. They're doing all these things to fill that void. So it seems surprising that they're fine with that. It just boggles my mind a little bit.
Women like that tend to hang out with other women that live that type of a lifestyle because if you don't, at a certain point, you're going to be in your 40s or 50s and most of your female friends are going to get married or have kids and go that route. And you're going to be kind of singled out. Like, what are you going to travel alone and just kind of like you said, sit with your cat or dog? And, eventually it's going to get old. I mean, how many purses can you buy? How many shoes? And, traveling, yeah, I guess it would take you a while to travel everywhere. But even then, like, it's not gonna feel kind of lonely for you to just, what's the end? So if that is your purpose, right? Because if you have a purpose, there has to be some sort of the whole idea behind a purpose is to have an end result from it. Then what's the end result?
And to have that end result be fulfilling somewhat.
Correct.
Now, do you think she seems like she's single because she's doing all these things for herself? She said, she's buying the bag and the nails and so on for herself. Do you think she's just using that as an excuse to whore around?
That's the part of the video that she left out, but I guarantee you that's in there.
How dare you?
She probably just didn't want to say it. She mentioned like naps, and I think sleeping around is 100% on that list. And again, that's another trait of that modern women have is they want all their freedoms. They want their cake and to eat it too. And they want to be able to do whatever they want without being judged for it. They want to sleep around with as many guys as possible, experience as many things. We always talk about no accountability. Good luck holding her accountable. She apparently she just doesn't zero given.
It's hard to admit in the face of the public that you want to go and whore around. So of course you have to do things to hide that, right? I would say.
Yeah. You're right.
Now, do you think there's more of a social acceptance nowadays to not have children?
At least in the U.S., I think there's acceptance. There's a lot of acceptance to do everything that you're not supposed to do. That's the best way I can word it. Like, if you're doing something wild or backwards nowadays, you're going to probably get more support for that than doing, traditional, normal human being type of things. So,
are women going to feel fulfillment without motherhood and children?
A lot of them swear that's not the case. I've watched quite a few interviews with women, and they stand by the fact that no, people say that, we're going to regret it one day, and that's not true because I have friends that are older and they're happy without kids, and I'm just like, this has to be them just coping with it, because it's easier to tell yourself, I'll be happier, I'm just fine like this, than to admit to yourself when you're 45, 50 years old, like, wow, I made a major, massive life screw up that's irreversible. You know,
Seems like they're in denial. I mean, they're aiming for a standard that's so high at times, and they just don't realize that that's being a detriment to their life. Not having kids, not being with a partner. I mean, you have to be with a partner to have kids. It's so shocking that it just continues to get worse and worse.
I guess as a last resort, if she changes her mind when she's 50, I guess she can adopt a kid, but that's never going to be the same as having your own child. And the way it's been described to me, I don't have kids, but the way it's been described to me is it's like the most powerful feeling you could possibly have. It's a forever life-changing experience. And she's not going to do that because she'd rather shop and take naps.
It's crazy to me. That's the excuse that she gave. I mean, let's look at the other end. Is there somewhat of a societal pressure to have children? I mean, think about it. Women probably have their parents in their ears, maybe siblings, friends, people in general judging them because, again, it's a natural thing to worry about the opinions of others, and a lot of women do that. I mean, just think about how much makeup nowadays women are wearing. You're worried about your appearance in front of the eyes of others. So is there somewhat of a pressure to have children, and then women are sort of rebelling against that and going against the norm?
I think women are rebelling against a lot of things, and that tends to be the general move now, is to do, like I mentioned a second ago, is to do everything the opposite of what you're supposed to. It's like some kind of a movement now. Like, let's just liberate ourselves from any expectations at all. Screw society in general. We're just going to be free and do whatever we want. That's how it is now.
I mean, there's some things here. One from the New York Post that says U.S. births continue to decline as nearly half of women under 45 are childless.
To my understanding, we're not reproducing fast enough to sustain life in the long run. Like, human beings are not having enough kids in general, not just the U.S.
I think the economy has an effect. I also have here that the cost of raising a child has almost doubled in the last 20 years. I mean, at one time, raising a child, if a child costs, let me throw a number out, let's say from ages, born to 18 years old, let's say maybe $150,000. Just to throw a number out there. It might not be that number. Don't hold me to it. But now you can look at it as doubled. Now you could say that number is $300,000.
Right.
That's insane. So you could understand that, but I mean, think about it. You're talking about women worrying about the finances when it really most of the time falls on the shoulders of a guy.
Right.
So why are they so worried about that if it's money related?
The main purpose of human beings being on this planet is two things: survive and reproduce. That's really our basic roles. That's why we're here, right? Let's just say. So if it gets to a point where we're already not reproducing fast enough, and then you have women like this who decide they're not going to have kids, and this cycle continues, it's pretty much going to be game over, that down the line. I think this is just one of many different issues now, but we discuss modern women and the different issues that modern women have nowadays in terms of dating, and we get a lot of backlash for it. People think we're misogynist or we're hating, but just use this woman as a prime example. You're not going to tell me that this is a good idea. This is if a man were to say something like that, I don't want to work, I don't want to make money, I just want to play Xbox and chill, and that's my purpose. We would get laughed. They'd literally laugh in our face if we said that.
As a man, you wouldn't get anywhere with that.
Nobody's going to support that.
Not at all. And it's just ridiculous. I mean, don't you think women down the line that don't have children will regret their decision in the future?
Without a doubt. I think temporarily at this point in their life, maybe they don't think they're going to regret it because, of course, they're having a blast, right? You're just prolonging your 20s into your 30s and 40s, traveling, living a carefree lifestyle, drinking. Well, she said, in her case, she said staying sober. So I'll give her that. That's the one positive thing she said. But, that's not what life is about. Life isn't just one big party where you just, travel and live a carefree lifestyle and just forget all your basic, reproducing and carrying on your family's name and genes is like your role. Like, who else is going to do it? Unless she has siblings that are going to do it. But yeah, I don't know. The whole thing is strange to me. Very, very, very unsettling.
Well, what do you think of this? The Pew Research sources say that men are more likely than women to say that they want to be parents someday. What do you think of that?
One more time?
That men are more likely to want to be parents more than women someday.
Yeah, I could see that. There's a lot of weird, strange things happening when in dating. Like we talked about many times, roles are reversing. Women want to play like a manly, masculine role in terms of career and how they live their life. And I think that's what's going to happen. I do believe that with time, like human beings, society is going to correct itself in one way, shape, or form to survive. Like there's going to be some correction here and there. I wouldn't be surprised if now it's going to be men pushing. I never thought I'd say these words, but I think it's going to be men that are going to start putting pressure on women to reproduce. Yeah.
I could see men saying that. I mean, at the end of the day, men want to leave a legacy. They want to leave their name behind.
You need a woman to have a kid. That we know. That's for sure, right? Yeah. So if they're not going to go along with it, men are going to put pressure on them.
That's the thing. And even though men may not want to get married, but men may want to have children, I could understand the not wanting to get married part. I mean, the fact that
correct, I agree.
A woman is having a tough time deciding whether they want a child or not kind of makes the decision pretty easy for guys to not want to commit to them. And it's funny because out of all the controversial shit that we say, because we get it, we know that we're pretty controversial, and we're not even a year into our podcast yet, almost, but not yet. We're giving advice here to help these ladies, because the ladies usually get offended by what we say.
And that's why we're going to throw some variety into our content this year, because we don't want people to get the wrong idea. This is not a misogynist podcast. We're not here to just sit and talk poorly about women or complain about women, but we're going to bring up this year a different variety of types of content and issues, because I think there's a few different ways we could sprout out from what we originally started with. So.
Correct. There's never been any sort of misogyny towards women, no hate towards anybody. We're just stating what we see. We're giving our thoughts based on what we understand, what we've learned, what we've experienced, the facts, the stats, the sources, the studies. We're giving you the information based off of that. And as they say, the truth is something that people don't like to hear.
Right. So
any thoughts on what the future holds for women that end up wanting to be childless? I'm sure we touched on it, but any final thought on that?
Luckily not all women have given into this like modern woman type of ideology, persona, lifestyle, whatever you want to call it. But this particular woman and anybody that follows that type of, it's your life. It's your choice. At the end of the day, who am I to tell you what to do? It's your choice. You do whatever you want. You don't want to have kids. You want to have kids. It's ultimately your choice. But as a woman, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes you could possibly make. It's the one thing that you can do. It's like a gift that's given to you to reproduce. Only you can do that, and you're going to replace that with shopping, nails, and naps.
If we can wake at least one woman up by doing this episode, that'd be fantastic. If we can motivate her to say, listen, maybe these guys are right. Maybe these guys are saying what needs to be heard. I have to understand that and use it to my advantage. How do I do that? Start putting yourself out there to men. I mean, again, men are having a tough time approaching women, and women are complaining about that. We see it all the time. Why? Because of things like the Me Too movement. Things like that is scaring guys away. If women had a better attitude in general, we know there's some exceptions, but in general, society overall, if women had a better attitude of acceptance of men coming up to them and asking them on a date, it wouldn't be so difficult. You would be able to find your fit. I mean, there's so many people out there. We're talking about billions of people in the world. You know, and if you're talking about the U.S., hundreds of millions.
The U.S. is already, last I checked, it was 260, and then I checked again, and now it's up to like 380 or 390 million.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. I thought it was 330, 340 around there, but
it definitely surpassed 300. Like, I forget what it was like the 2010 census. It was like 260, I want to say. It's literally in the 300s now. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. So at the end of the day, again, we're going to give our recommendations. You guys decide what to do with it. It is your life. Again, you can hate on what we say, but you know, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. You know, hopefully you take this advice to heart, and hopefully it's something that you understand that this is something good we're giving back.
Go in the comments. Let us know what you think. What is your response to this video? Do you think she's making a mistake by having that type of a mindset and saying she doesn't want to have kids and her purpose is traveling, or is she right?
Absolutely. So we will close it out here again, guys. We know we've been getting some hate, almost closing out this first year. We're past 11 months now, working on the podcast here and giving you guys all we can. And we know it's tough to digest. But again, support the channel. We're here to do good. I'm sure some of you guys will change your mind on us today. Support the channel, like the video, get us to 1,000. We're pushing to 1,000. Put us out there in the algorithm. We want to help as many of you guys out, both men and women, especially today. I'm sure you ladies realize that. We're here for you as well. So support the channel, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Peace.